So how y'all doing? Yeah. Sizzling. There's nothing better than sizzle. Just saying it is, I don't know, sexy kind of, right? Can you say sexy and spiritual? I think we can. I have a question for you that I put together to start us out. I love questioning. In spiritual counseling, that all you ever do is ask good questions. So that whatever the answers are, you can lead the self back to the self. Doesn't that make sense? So this is what the question is for us all today. What if everything that you've been waiting for, every dream, desire, every calling, was already inside you? Just waiting for permission to ignite. Ignite to me is kind of like sizzle. Ignite. What would happen if you said yes to that right now, right here? Yeah, take a moment. Just take a moment and just say, wow, what if everything that I've been waiting for, every dream, every desire, every calling was already right here inside of me, just waiting for permission to ignite? What would happen if we said yes right now? There are a lot of no's going around these days. A lot of things that, no, that can't work, that can work, that. We have a law of our being, and I know law isn't the most romantic word, but boy, do I count on it. I count on a law of my being that allows me to say yes and to know that I am supported. I go on to think of Ernest Holmes, who doesn't look like the most sizzled man if you see a picture of him. In my day, we might even have called him boring. But he was far from boring. He had sizzle, and people came from miles around, thousands of people in a time that sizzle was not really being, popular. And they didn't come for dancing or doing anything else. They came for one reason. There was a message that they had to hear that said, I'm not stuck. That the world that said this, some of it was a lie. It was a lie. Oh my God, who would think? And that you could trust your own intuition when you wanted the truth, and nothing but the truth. This is a revolutionary time for us, an evolutionary time. I don't care what it looks like out there. I know what is going on inside of here. Ernest Holmes said this, and I used this in a session yesterday. Oh, look at me, I'm getting all, if he clenches the fist, something's happening. Thanks for the sizzle. Okay. It's for me. We must not be lukewarm in our conviction. Call it whatever you want. Sitting on the fence post, willy-nilly, as that sizzling man Ernest Holmes used to say. Don't be willy-nilly. Who uses willy-nilly? But anyway, we must not be lukewarm in our conviction. I remember my mom, she would say to me when I wanted to do something, should I move to New York? Should I? And then when she wouldn't tell me what I wanted to hear, my mom used to say, if you weren't lukewarm in your decision making, you wouldn't even have to ask me right now. That woman was wise, but I didn't know it at the time. We must not be lukewarm in our conviction. There must be a fire burning at the center of our being with sufficient heat generated to melt away every obstruction. There must be a fire burning at the center of our being with sufficient heat generated to melt away every obstruction. And in this session I was in, and I said, it's every obstruction. It's not except for that one. It's every obstruction. Man alive. Wow. Because sometimes I think we go into a negotiation process when we're going, I really desire this, and I'm all for pros and cons. They've never worked personally for me because I just know what I want, and I want it, my desire to be fulfilled, but I'm afraid to say it. I'm afraid to say it for many reasons. What if I'm disappointed? Well, what if you are? At least at the end of the day, you'll say, boy, I was disappointed, but I went for it. I went for it. I gave it all the gusto, sizzle. I'm going to use sizzle all day. That's all there is to it. And I love this idea that Ernest goes on to say too. When one separates himself from the divine fire, he becomes an isolated spark. And I like that song because we're here. We're here for you. I'm there for you. That's what this whole self-love week was for me, to know that I'm here for me. I know you're feeling this and you're feeling that, and I was saying I can depend that Rita is there for me. It's almost as dependable as the law itself. But if I can't be there for me, I will never be able to be there for her fully. Because there'll always be some negotiation going on. And I love that idea. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're separated. That isolated spark where you're going, I'm on fire, all by myself. I'm on fire. So this week I learned so much, and I'll try to share it in like an hour or two. But I want to share this, what I learned this week. Two things, because I'm very transparent for the most part, right? So here's the deal. My desire has been to put myself out there a little bit more, either on Facebook or on something live so that you could see my face. But I was going to wait until I lost a few more pounds. And I went, let's start at the very beginning. Whoa. What, are you going to wait to love yourself? When the people need to hear, get on that Facebook and tell them what you feel. And I said, this is time for us to go out and get that card. And here's the little side thing. Not everybody likes that idea. I was shocked. I was at the gym, because that's the place to really bring this up. So I was talking to this couple that I know, and I called them over. I said, you two, come on over here. I got a challenge for you. I said, I want you to go out and buy yourself a Valentine's Day card. Really take some time, pick it out, the words, everything, and write it, and lick it, put it together, and then open it on Valentine's Day. Well, she was like, oh, wow. Honey, that's really a good idea. That was not his feeling. He was like, oh, that's cool, man. I said, you don't believe a word of what I'm saying, do you? He goes, well, I was taught, you don't do stuff like that. You don't brag on yourself, and you don't do this. And I said, well, what's going to happen to you if you do it? What's going to happen I said, because you don't know. Because there is something so incredible to look in a card section and say, what would the perfect card be for me? What would it have to say? What would it have to say? And I could tell that she was going to do it, and he was not going to. And you see, the whole lesson isn't whether or not you do it or not. It's about what you're feeling while you're either doing it or you're not. It's the feeling, am I worth it enough? I thought to myself, yes, I am worth that. And then the other thing too is when you love someone, You love something. You just love with your heart, your children, or Quanta, our little cat. When you love that, you'll do anything for them, wouldn't you? Think about it. You would do anything for the person that you love. And I said, would you do anything and everything for you, Patrick? Would you go out just a little bit there, a little bit there? No, I think this is an opportunity this week when I saw what can happen. And people were just giddy. One woman said, she goes, I didn't want to say this, but I went, she's in Oregon. She said she went somewhere, but she said that she had a really bad breakup and she was learning to love herself again. And she went to this workshop place or whatever, she went out there, and she married herself. And she said, I had to tell you, and I haven't spoken to this woman in years, she goes, I had to tell you how great it felt and how healing it was for me in this horrible breakup that I have been going through, because I was so devastated about the breakup that I forgot to love myself through it. And so I said, this could be a movement, but and it is. And now we have a support system, right? We're supporting one another today, however that looks. And I like this one. Set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. Do you notice I put in a little fan your flames? You know what I mean? This is how it feels. I love this. I love this. Set your life on fire. And don't go around going, why are you doing that? I can't wait to be around them. I got this great idea. Oh, yeah. I remember starting this beautiful place. I said to this woman before we left, I said, we're starting a center on the island of Kaua'i. I had a friend who started one over on another island, and not very successful. And I was like, frequency bombing, frequency. And I thought, oh no, you're not on my team. And see, being on our team doesn't mean that you like everything that someone does. But for God's sakes, don't try to put out their flame. If you don't think it's a good idea, fabulous. But just fan their flame. Say, whatever turns you on, man, go for it. So I'm going to end with, I always question that, and I always love watching the musicians get up because they go, I got to walk really slow because he says it's the end. But you know what? I want to end with where we began. What if everything you've been waiting for, every dream, every desire, every calling was already inside of you, because it already is, because there's no time or space in the quantum field, by the way. So if you want to spend some time doing some really good work, get in the non-local field. That's where everything's happening. We all know what this is. We're just, wow. So anyway, what would happen if you said yes to whatever it is your desire? And then Steve Jobs says, your time is limited. That was angel wings. So don't waste it living someone else's life. Have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. It's interesting. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. So let us not forget, I don't know. Sometimes it's just giving yourself a little more time. Because I do believe that each and every one of us knows exactly where our sizzle is. Namaste.